Now I have to do all my jokes over again. All right. So in 1 hour, Australian dollar, high impact speech. More coffee. All right. The pound has high impact news. It's half an hour later than usual. So in 2 hours from now, high impact news for the pound. There is actually at the usual time, hour and 20 minutes from now, is some medium impact. So, but that's not going to be the focus with in 2 hours inflation report hearings. Is that a number? No, it is not. It's a hearing. So again, it's like the speech. It doesn't have a straight up number that's coming out. So that's for the pound in 2 hours. That's the focus, the speech, as far as the pound. U.S. session, existing home sales. There's not much going on. The U.S. It's all about in many, many hours from now. What is this? 12, 13, 14, 15 hours from now. Yellen speaks. Fed Chair Yellen speaks. That's really the focus for U.S. The existing home sales is something, and that's a couple hours into New York session. It's the medium impact. I'm surprised actually you would think that would be high impact. But with nothing else going on in early session US, it's likely to have some movement off of that. All right. Hope you caught all that. So the Eurodollar, if you remember this setup, this is what I had pointed out on the charts what you're seeing here. If you remember, and maybe some of you took this trade and got in at least at some point, is the first fib retracement after the reversal, right? I used to actually call it the golden setup. How dramatic. Just because it was very high probability. We talked about this on Thursday. Looking for the short in here. It ended up the next day doing that. And that's pretty high volume for that time of day. The 5 minute did show weakness and all that in there. So I did tell you that's a very good trade. Really, really good. One of the best probability trades. First fib retracement after the weakness, right? If you don't understand that, ask, but you probably should because it's very simple. And going forward, so there was weakness in there too on the smaller time frames, which is all you need because the background's already been established. It's bearish, right? We knew that. Here we have more weakness. So clearly bearish, right? Well, let's start again. So there's only a couple ways in here. It's pretty simple. The direction's very obvious. There's not much to explain unless you're kind of new here and you can ask. But this is, again, we established weakness in the background. We had a fib retracement, which smaller times we can take a look at it eventually, showing the short setup there. And again, this is weakness just because it's the definition of weakness right there. And you can see, of course, the result. And going forward, we haven't not seen a lot of strength to change any of this. If we look at the volume here off the low, we accepted the lower prices. This is the most we have in the low price area, which is really nothing high. Even if the 5 minute shows strength, right? We have our background, we have our established direction, which we knew right when this happened that we have turned bearish. So everything's making sense and looking a bit better, right? Really simple and clean. So if we can move up, if I could just drag the price up right now, so we could get possibly another fib area test. It's all about looking to get the short entries off of weakness, ideally, if we're moving up, which hopefully we are. And if it wants to get through that fib area without hitting sellers, which is likely going to hit the selling here and come down. If they don't show up, you don't get the weakness, you don't get the setup. We have this area, which would be technically even better, but not so realistic that the price would get up there. But better, I say, because the higher you sell, the better. And there's a lot of short positions through here, and we're kind of would be aligning with them. They're still in these shorts, right? There's a bit of strength here, a bit of strength there, but The high volume stuff is selling, and they're still in those positions. And that's probably the best thing you could see. If you remember with the Australian dollar shorts, the AJ short we got, knowing that smart money is sitting on positions. In this case, they're sitting on their short positions and they're not taking profit when they have plenty of opportunity to do so. They're just hanging on. That's obviously the most confident they could be that it's going to continue. So if you remember talking about that last week or whatever that was with the AJ. So they're sitting on this one too, which is good. So if it moves up, we're looking for that redistribution, weakness coming in, right? Simple stuff. Now if it just moves down, you might be able to guess, if you've been here a little bit now, what we would want. As I say, I like to sell high off of weakness. It aligns with smart money. This is how they're getting in. When others are buying, they'll sell to them happily. But sort of a step later would be breaking through the support off no demand. And we could back out and get the big picture here. But obviously, if we're testing support, there's weakness in the background. Smart money's holding on to short positions. And if you're testing support and buyers don't show up, guess what? Down it goes. Okay. So break of this low off no demand. And we can't see shit, so let's bigger picture levels. This is all basic stuff that hopefully you guys most likely have already, if you've done your analysis, already have marked up, right? Simple stuff. The projection, right? The overall sort of thing is we're going to do that. Well, however big that leg is, another leg down. And volume really backs that up, right? But we do have to get through fib area and support, and we'll see what it looks like. And that's the projection. Obviously, it's a downtrend. And where is it going? You know, you could draw a big fib here, whatever. So that's getting ahead of yourself. Okay. Take it as it comes, one day at a time there. So we got the fib drawn in as far as on the bigger picture where it may be going to pause and get a pullback again and all that, right? Again, if you're selling here and you're getting to support, it's a nice trade for the day. But beyond that, what we'd be running into. And if we sell off no demand, it's only maybe 20 pips till you hit the 50 fib. So it's not as good of a trade. And of course, it may continue through it, but this is the better entry. We'll see what happens here. Also, there's the fake break on the pullback, right? Which is kind of already done. And it's not much. This should look familiar to you. We're bearish. We pulled back. However much we pulled back, in this case, very little here. I'm sure there's very little buying, but maybe we can get lucky with something here. And so there's the high of the recent pullback of the day here, and then the fake breakout, right? Get in there. Right. So there's a fake breakout in the direction. That's a bearish pattern there. And if there's overwhelming weakness here, and maybe we'll get another fake break of this level, get in there and see. But that's the idea. If we're moving up, okay, we got some buying actually, which is good. So we don't have to worry about chasing it if it's moving up. But the high of the day was here. It was a fake breakout, and weakness did show up, and it did come down, right? But there is some strength here, which is now causing this, which I'm not complaining, because then we can move up, hopefully, and get a better price. So I'm going to get rid of that, because it already did the fake break setup once we got in there and saw it. But it ran into some demand, kind of luckily for us right now, because we want to... Why is there a trade open right now on this thing? I open trades on demo, I forget. Hey, it was profitable. It was a short. You don't want to be buying. All right. So I like that we're moving up. Let's get that fib test. That would be this is the most realistic and good entry is anywhere in this area. Okay. Very good. Let's just trade this. We don't even have to look. Let's just sell here off weakness. Do we have to look at other things? Okay, fine. But for once, I really like the Eurodollar. For the first time in months, I really like it. Has the pound gotten out of its range? Could it be? I think what was it, Thursday, we kind of woke up, right? And look at that. We're getting out. It's escaping. Until you back out and you realize it's really nothing to get excited about. Okay, it's a start. Got to start somewhere, pound. So of course we were talking about the range and looking to sell here, and just to know, like, the fake breakout wasn't really confirmed here, and who knows what. Let's see if we get something good now. Is the pound back? Okay, so again, big picture, it's a range. It really has gone nowhere, but within these, this is kind of what we've been dealing with some of these pairs, particularly pound or EJ. Daily chart is just a big old range, but within that, there's trendy like moves. It's all just a game because it really ends up going nowhere. But it's kind of sloppy, but you see the pullbacks and the new higher highs, higher lows. It's certainly there. You could draw a channel over that if you're into channels. Alex's scalp entries. Let's see. We can let things chill out here, but have you been scalping that? Right now we have this kind of craziness, so let's just see. But this is some activity. I like that. But let's do the analysis top to bottom. Okay, range. But how is this sort of trend within the range, which is, I guess, all we can get right now, behaving? And it looks like potentially some weakness, but then we had a higher close. But then it did end up being a fake breakout. Obviously, if there's any trend here, it looks bullish, but is volume backing that up? And is it really the opposite of Eurodollar, with the euro and the pound driving the moves, or what? I want to see this high. Oops. There's a lot of volume there, but we did close higher. Maybe the 5-minute will still show weakness up there. Maybe it won't. See, initially some weakness. Typically, there's a little bit there, and usually this is just it, the fake break, and then there was this little pop up. It's not picture perfect. There was certainly a lot of selling there, but for some reason they didn't jump on it right there. Because it's the pound and whatever, right? Weakness. Trying to see what the overwhelming thing is. To be going long here, I would have to see proper strength. It looks like an uptrend, of course, but volume's not there backing it up. And again, it's not really an uptrend. It just broke out of this range within the range kind of smaller thing. So, 1 second. All right. And that looked like it was a fib retracement. So it's behaving like a trend within the range. But let's see if we can get an actual sign of strength or weakness. These guys might align if Eurodollar moves up to the fib and perhaps gives a weakness, and at the same time this guy's moving up to resistance and does maybe a fake breakout and weakness, and that would be US dollar strength, perhaps driving the move. But it's still not great. It's the pound, and it's just barely improved a little bit. Eurodollar is still much, much better. Looking to short that. All right. Well, this one's pretty obviously a downtrend. One thing to always check, but I can already tell, it broke 608, and we knew that. Nothing really in its way. It's obviously a good, healthy downtrend. And let's look at the 1 hour volumes at the low prices. Nothing climactic, and some nice weakness here. Good, healthy downtrend that hopefully is going to give maybe some higher prices to sell off weakness today. Good, healthy trends are simpler, right? Just look for the weakness at the proper levels. Or more aggressively, if it doesn't want to move up, look for the no demand off the supports. So today's range fib, we have this from the high of the pullback. And again, if things want to be driven by the US dollar and correlate, well, hopefully the best thing that could happen today is these up moves occur. And weakness. So those are the areas. If it does make it this high, unlikely, but if it does, we have it there too. Again, the no demand off a low price break. This is really a breakout trade chasing the trend. It would have to look really good to take that trade because, of course, we know strength could come in here, and if trend's going to turn around, it's likely on a fake breakout. So selling there is not the best. But it looks like definitely right since the middle of last week, things have improved. It looks normal for this time of year, dare I say. I dared. Pound yen. Yeah, it's the pound. What do you want? Don't ask too much from the pound. Is it a trend? Is it a range? It's ugly. This would probably be my last choice. Pound yen could give scalp entries when things are trending well, within that range because it's a big mover. But obviously, we are not in that condition right now. I really wouldn't do anything. The overall analysis just says, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, if you look to the left, it's all kinds of resistances up here and just mixed signals, no trend, not a clear range either. Very sloppy. The only thing I would do with the pound yen at this point would be fake breakouts of support resistance, the range approach, which again is not really clear what it is. You got a resistance, you get another one, you get another one. Or scalp entries when you have stuff like this, which is, we get good trending moves and it's a good mover on the pound yen on the scalps. So nothing too great there. Pound is not fully back to normal. Trades open in this thing. I'm going to blow my demo account. All right, so obviously trending down. Let's see what the volume's telling us about the trend. Wait, first of all, any levels coming up? What are we looking at? Not too worried about this fib. It may play some role, but there, we're below the 618 anyway. Staying below. Looks like a break test continuation. Oh, very clean break test continuation of 618. So fib is no longer valid. So obviously trending down, and nothing climactic with the volume. The bit of strength showed up there on the fake break. There's our pullback, fake break, and areas to sell. Last leg down is here. The support term resistance is all the way up there, which is not great because I'd rather be on this point and not look to sell, right? Unless it hits our resistance or something. So I wouldn't really go by that. This could help maybe with stop loss placement, but this is the ideal, just like the Eurodollar situation. It could be simply just another slightly higher price above this high. Hopefully at least hit 50 fib and give it a short setup if we move up. Let's look in there and see. See, there was a bit of strength here. Like I say, when this downtrend and the 5 minute showing some strength, and it's not for going long unless you're going counter trend. It's to say that a retracement is possible. If this wasn't here, it would be more likely to just drop. And of course it can. It's a downtrend, and they're not likely accumulating here, and it could just go through. But the best setup, the first thing would be to look for the up move and the weakness. There is the option of selling the no demand in this area. Again, there were buyers here before, and if they really don't show up on the test here, right, down we go, bound to support likely. So that's another option there. All right. Well, here's a pretty obvious situation where we have the range and another fake breakout. I mean, they're just constantly fake breakouts. This low had a fake breakout. This low had a fake breakout. This low had a fake breakout. This low had a fake break, and they're all tradable. So that's the most recent. And I mean, if I sound like I'm talking about fake breakouts all day, it's not me. It's the charts. I don't have some obsession with fake breakouts. And there it was. So the new low is there. And that weakness has appeared here. This suggests it may, and we already know the Eurodollar is weak. The euro is weak. And here you see some weakness on this move, which for the first time since I've been back in September, we may actually break to the downside here. So we see something different where, of course, you're going to get some buying on this fake breakout. It's just what the EJ has been doing, telegraphing to everybody on this range and, buy low on a fake breakout strength. But again, this very high volume showing weakness. Let's take a look at that. It looks like the euro's going down. There it is. So for the first time, it looks like smart money, who's a step ahead of everybody else who just went long, is likely going to see this break, have this break to the downside. Yes, that's right. You heard it here first. So says the chart. That's some very high volume showing that. So EJ short, I'm telling you, nobody knows it unless you're looking at volume. If you're not looking at volume, you're saying, wow, look at all that buying, right? We must be going back up in this range after all that buying. Nope. I say the range is about to end. Well, the charts say it, right? So I'd like to get in on that, particularly a fake breakout, but anywhere in this area, right? Looking to short. Volume tells it, tells the story. So there's that option to get in. And it's technically been trending down for a few, lower lows and lower highs. And then again, this is just like weakness on a pullback, right? And it's probably a fib. Wherever you want to draw it, it's more or less a fib here. Whatever. Any of these bring you to fib. Even this one, practically. So that's about right. 50 EMA, weakness. So there's that, or the option, of course, to sell off a no demand here. If we don't get up there and we just start to move down, right? We have this no demand. And we'd be looking for the low and a continuation or a breakout of the range. So I actually like that EJ non-range trade. Who knew? It might happen. It's very likely. A lot of people went long, obviously. And it's not going to work out. It's really probably not going to. All right. Well, we got to hit their stop losses, which are all right here. Evil laugh. It's not nice. So if we hit weakness there and come down and do a fake break, mission accomplished. And maybe continue from there. But at least getting to that point. It'll knock out all the long entries. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? All right. Again, really, the pound is not quite there yet. But the rest are fine. I'm not going to complain about anything else but the pound. And again, the U.S. dollar strength to some extent. Obviously, the AU is bearish. The Eurodollar is bearish. The pound is the pound. But U.S. dollar strength. So looking at dollar Swiss. I guess you'd be drawing the fib there. Or here. Either way. So we did get to that. We have a sort of a bullish pattern there on the daily. Weakness, no. Weakness, no. Not my first choice, but if we get a setup, we get a setup. We'll see. But the U.S. dollar is strong, so. It doesn't mean it's running the show on every pair that has a U.S. dollar. Like the pound is still moving up. Yeah. All right. So the best ideal setup would be looking to short Eurodollar or AU or AJ on an up move and weakness. If we can't move up, we start moving down. There could be the no demand entries. And we're testing this area. And we'd want to see a big difference here, where it really is the opposite of this. Volume decreases on a pause, buyers don't show up, and we break through properly. So that could be coming up. I'm kind of hoping a little buyers and buying comes in and they get weakness on an up move. I'm willing to be patient, but if that sets up, it's valid. Ideally, the Eurodollar short. That's big money is sitting on those positions, right? That's always the best. When you see that, again, not only are they in it, but they've gotten plenty of chances to get out, and it's limited to no volume on that. So they're sitting in it, and they sold a lot into this. If I was sort of longer term swing trading, and I didn't really overthink things, I'd probably just get short the Eurodollar right now and aim for 114 something. But I don't have the patience for that. But that's how clear as day it is that really the bias has changed. It would take a lot of volume on the 1 hour chart showing strength for that to change a lot. It's not changing. If you pop down here and you get the highest volume in weeks showing strength, okay, then it changes. But that's what it would take. So that's the best. Or AU or AJ. Okay. So we know what we're looking for. See how things develop. More coffee. And since we did test the box, a little demand area, we can get an idea of how much buying may be coming in. We see really nothing special there. 1 minute. A little lower will really obviously tell us. Not a horrible entry right now, actually. But the amount of buying that went on here the last time around could give, again, a higher price to sell. Let's see if we get through that off no demand. Likely. So there is a sort of intraday fake break right there. That was the high of the session so far. That happened. But there was some strength here, so maybe a little on the aggressive side. But again, Eurodollar is very bearish. Hoping again that this strength is, going to lead to some higher prices for weakness. But it looks like it's really just coming in here. Instead of a break test continuation, it's a fake breakout. At that point, the buyers didn't show up for the break test, which is not surprising. Think about what I might do here. I'm thinking a little unconventional, but with this fake break weakness and so much weakness in the background, if I were to go in a little sooner, because now with this weakness, it's not likely to give this really good price. Um, there is the option of putting a small position. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. And putting the stop above here, which right now is about 40, 45 pips, a little on the big side. So if I put a small position and a stop loss here, I would actually be able to survive this fib test and maybe, of course, add to the trade and put a normal size trade on if it sets up from that point. But like I say, you may have heard me say, when the bottom, this is the low price recently, um, has such little buying. I mean, there was some here, which gave some hope of some higher prices to sell into, but it just came in so fast there. Um, when trends do not see, when they see very low volume, let's in this case a downtrend, off the low prices, really no increase, then it's there's some here and there. Then it's likely to just continue without much of a pullback, right? There's just not enough buying to give you the retracement. And there's a little demand floating around here and there, but here's the 1 minute, just looking at that highest volume of the day so far in the 1 minute weakness. And this sort of fizzled out as it was still hitting low prices. It's obviously not accumulation or any serious stuff going on with strength. Temporary little thing. But a bit of demand here. Okay. It's not exactly free fall, so maybe we will get even a double top here, a fake break of this level, now that that's been established today. So we got some options. If these dollar pairs can move up, it will really give the better setups. Yeah, see, AU has the 5 minute strength, some strength there. Maybe we can get that fib retracement. Daily pivot, 50 EMA, fib, weakness. That would be a very good one. All right. So it's a little unconventional, but I am considering a small position with a fairly large stop. And then this way I'm in it if it just wants to go. And if it does move up, I still have room for the fib test. A little unconventional. It would be definitely considered aggressive. I could even move my stop to break even if it attempts to break out and has any trouble. If you're looking for the conservative, up move weakness stuff, again, there was some here. But we're just sort of, we haven't really gotten a retracement really today. but it's all there behind us. So I kind of just want to get into the Eurodollar short and give it a lot of room with a small position is what I'm thinking. Just because it's so blatantly bearish. Has smart money sitting on those shorts. Well, I'd rather move up and give that entry, but may not be able to happen with all that weakness. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of just going to likely fall over and go down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, again, this is a little aggressive. I'm putting a small position on right now on the Eurodollar short, and I'm going to have the stop likely above that 618.882. All right, so I'm in the trade on a very small position, so I can just get in it, and if it wants to move up and give it the proper higher setup, I can put my normal size position. So I do have a small position in the trade short Eurodollar. There's just so much short that it's very unlikely to move up past that fib. And I just want to get in with so much, obviously, short from smart money, and I want to get in that direction. So it's definitely on the aggressive side. It's not a traditional thing if you want to wait for that, which would be, again, the up move and weakness or breaking the lows off no demand. But you can probably understand my thinking on this with all that weakness. And again, the weakness. And we did get a fake break pattern here. So it's not just nothing. It's not just jumping in. So I do have a small position, and I'm going to get a nice big stop to give it room. It's not over risking because of the small position. And again, if it moves up, I can take the normal risk, traditional entry off weakness if it moves up. So I'll throw my stop in here at 82 on this small position. I know it's a big stop, but it's all about risk. So bigger stop, smaller position, not over risking. And even so, if it goes higher, I can add to it. That's just what I'm comfortable with given the whole situation. If you want to be not aggressive, right, that's the thing to do is wait. But again, it's about the no regrets, right? If this thing drops, it's clear as day that it's likely to just drop. The demand showing up here and there is likely very limited. It's overshadowed by much higher weakness volume. So if it drops and I'm not in it, that would be regrettable. If it moves up and gives weakness, I can add to it again and improve my position and have a normal size position, a normal trade entry. If it just shoots up and the whole thing falls apart and it's a loss, the point is I'm okay with that because I wanted to get at least something on here because of the likelihood of moving down before any real up move. So I wouldn't regret doing this. If it goes up, breaks 618 and everything else, then it would just be getting kind of wacky anyway. If we moved up, broke 618, and it's moved up, it would be a little wacky. It's not a very high probability. So that's my thinking on that. I'm comfortable with this with small risk, something on here. Again, in the bigger picture, it could give another leg down of the trend, and we're out of this bull crap of spending many days sideways, many days, or a week, 2 weeks, going nowhere. The chart is saying that's over, and we could trend normally. So I want to get in there with something. So if it moves down, at least I have something on it. If it moves up, I'm looking for weakness here, and I can get a regular position. If it just breaks to the upside, then so be it, and I'm okay with that. Now, the Australian dollar AU has shown, it's also bearish, but it's shown a little more consistent buying, and I wouldn't want to be aggressive on more than one. So I would just chill out right now. And at this point, wait for textbook entries, which of course ideally would be up move and weakness, but we may not get it, and we may be breaking here off no demand. It is a true breakout trade. Which is not my favorite, but that might be all it has to offer today. Yeah, here we go on the AJ, right? There it is. So very weak. Yeah, it does have to deal with a 618 still, just to see what it's running into here. But the recent low, the low of the day so far, where it showed strength, we're starting to get through that on lower volume. But again, the 618 is here. There is technically a little no demand situation on the test off a fib. And it's likely breaking through, but again, I don't want to get aggressive on more than one little position there. Once it breaks, logically, right? Once it breaks 618 and there's not demand coming in, then it's likely going to support before anywhere else. So that's a little on the less aggressive side, right? So it's the same sort of deal where we're not seeing buyers, we're breaking this the no demand situation. But let's get past 618, because if there are some buyers hanging around, that's where they'd show up, so we can get a read on things. So again, if it breaks that and the buyers aren't showing up, it's likely going there pretty fast. New low for the day, medium low volume. 1 minute says regular volume, nothing special, no strength coming in. This could be it, but again, 618, we'll find out. Okay. So they're kind of coming together at the same time here with the test of the area, possibly demand coming in. This is a 618 or support, and if it breaks without demand, it's likely going for another leg down. I'd look to get in that. Remember, though, with the Australian dollar, there's the speech in about 8 minutes. So maybe it'll spike up. Wishful thinking. Australian dollar pairs move up on the speech and give weakness for a better entry. No. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that. Yeah. But no, because it's just not tradable. Really, it's very likely going to be just dead. Not anything too good, unless volatility is really picking up. But no, to have a session Thursday would be likely a waste of time. There's really not many holidays. It's basically Thanksgiving and Christmas, um, where I would say it's not even worth showing up. New Year's. There you go, Steve. So AU and AJ may set up as it's testing the lows and giving no demand, possibly a break. And of course, there's the option of spreading it around, as I say, putting small positions on both. They'll likely correlate on the setup because the Australian dollar weakness is driving the move. And if something wacky goes on with the dollar, then, the AJ is there and vice versa. If it's valid, I should be in it and, keep risk in check. So be a few small positions. What's really going to tell us is slightly lower prices, right? But also just the test now that we're here on AJ. Almost there on AU. Eurodollar. Don't make me look stupid now. Yeah, are these buyers going to show up again? Probably not. If it tries to get below here and there's, let's say, some really high volume strength, I could close the trade, right? I could do whatever I want if it doesn't look good. Uh, Chat. Oh, that's old. Okay. Again, with the speech on the Australian dollar, there's a bit of risk. Oh, there it goes. A bit of risk on doing anything. Okay, that changes things. Let's give it a second, right? Some large buying. Even if it comes in as a weakness and gets rejected, that's not typically how things go, right? Weakness would be up in here. So that's likely the speech affecting things, or I would actually guess that's getting out of some short positions going into the speech, right? Because there are plenty in there, which is probably not a bad idea. If you got a ton of shorts on AU, you take a little profit going to the speech just in case. That's could be what that is right there. We don't have to know why, right? Okay, so good. Maybe we'll get the up move and weakness on the speech, which is what I initially asked for, right? And that'll take a few minutes to set up. We can move up, get some regular activity, and see if we get the setup off weakness. Very good. All right. I got to step out for about 5 minutes. So now that this is happening, I can do that. I'll be back. All right. I'm back. All right. Look at that. Thanks, speech. Thank you, speech. Just say great things about the Australian dollar. Let's go. Get everybody on the wrong side. That's lovely. Trading has taken away my morals. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Now, of course, it could be a legitimate turnaround, but volume would tell us that. It's likely staying bearish. And this is really what we wanted the higher prices to look to sell into. Again, this was what happened right before the up move, which really didn't show much buying as far as, like it did here. As far as really a plan to do this. This is likely a larger amount of small traders, maybe, rather than the smart money. Whatever. Higher prices are better. Keep going. If we actually get a fib retracement or, the fake break, 50 fib, everybody's bias is changing and they start to buy here, right? Who's selling? Smart money. And of course, those that are in short already have their stop loss here too, right? Yeah, it's a dirty business. But that's not likely, that's not the usual case on the speech, right? I don't follow fundamentals. I don't know fundamentals, but that is not usually what happens. Let me take a look again. I mean, it was like right as the speech was starting, the thing starts to pop up. And again, the first reaction is there's a lot of short positions. They want to lower their exposure with some risk. But that's quite a pop for a speech. Lowe speaks about recent developments in Australian and global economy at the Australian Business Economist Annual Dinner. It's a dinner. Just hanging around eating steak, moving the forex market, trillions of dollars here and there, moving around. No biggie. While they eat their steak and fish. Would you like the steak or the fish? But heads of the central bank. It's the equivalent of a Fed speech, which is going to be later today. And he may be saying something about interest rates, which of course is the biggest mover pretty much. From the chart, it looks like he said. So let's talk about interest rates, seriously. That's something you could say to make that happen. But I'm not going to watch the speech. I don't even know where I would. Whatever the chart says. Meanwhile, Eurodollar, don't make me look stupid. This is the area where now we're barely into profit, but the point is, it's not a target. It's where some buying was active in this very bearish situation. Some buying was active off of this level. It's likely to get through without an issue because of the strong or the very weak background. But again, if it tries to test here slightly lower and the volume is like really high, I could just close it. Say, okay, aggressive trade, not looking as good as when I first got in. Get out for no loss. And again, if buying does come in here again, then possibly the higher short anyway could come. So either way, I'm good. 1 minute not showing any significant volume increase into lower prices, so nothing to worry about. So says the chart. So says the chart. That should be my saying, my quote. Again, EJ, big change for anyone who didn't see the initial analysis. The chart is saying the range is over. It's going to try to do this now. Big weakness. So, like I said, initially looking for the short here on sort of a double top thing, but there's so much weakness, not surprised we can't do that. If we break through here off no demand, we have that because the euro is very weak. I do already have something short on the euro, so I don't want to be aggressive on it, but that would be a valid situation. Tighten that up. That's a really good looking Monday, huh? Looks like we're back, finally, to some regular volatility. We're not sitting here going, well, there's one thing the market knows, the rest is all non-event and is sitting around. Not the case anymore. We can follow a storyline. Now that we're towards the end of November, jeez. Took long enough. So the Australian dollar shorts could be really the good trade of the day. Everybody's seeing this. It's probably trapping in some longs, whatever, but background very bearish. We want to go up and see the weakness. $4.20 in New York. You know what that means? It means pound news in 10 minutes. What were you thinking? But that's the medium impact news. The high impact news is 30 minutes after that. So this AU up move on the speech, right? It's interesting. As I have mentioned before, I'll mention it again. The Australian dollar has a tendency to be a little late to the party when it comes to directional change. Eurodollar, pound dollar, typically you can count on the, like we saw recently off the high, the weakness on the 1 hour chart, changing the direction, high volume off the high price area. Sometimes the Australian dollar kind of catches up a little late. For example, I'm not predicting this, I'm just saying you will see this with the Australian dollar for some reason. Smart money short, they're sitting on their shorts, and instead of getting out where they really could at a low price, sometimes you'll just see high volume leading to higher prices, high volume leading to higher prices, and that's them getting out of those short positions a little late to the party, right? Um, Likely it's not going to happen. That's not the usual case, of course, but it's just something to keep in mind with this currency. For some reason, it does that. So if this is very high volume, and then the next candle doesn't give the short setup and closes up as a result of that high volume, and we don't see weakness, it could possibly be turning. I wouldn't jump in long. I'd look for signs of strength and do a regular entry, tomorrow maybe or later or something. But just got to note that because it does tend to happen every now and then. Maybe the Australian algorithms aren't quite up to par there or something going on. I have no idea. That's Y territory, which I don't know. So again, watching closely with the more aggressive Eurodollar entry, what may be happening here with possible demand, and the low volume is a good sign that we're likely to continue. Any sort of bounce here is just really a test in a no demand situation. See the 1 minute low price. Yeah, a bit, but nothing special there. Nothing special. Well, we don't have to worry about shorting the Australian dollar pairs off no demand, chasing a breakout. That's the good news. It could be a fake break of this level. It could be a 618 overshoot here. Of course, once it calms down and gives us some results of higher prices with possibly weakness, we'll have an idea here. That's not the usual reaction to a speech. I guess it's of some importance for some reason, particularly today. Mr. Steve with the info. Australia weekly consumer confidence hits 16-week high in upbeat views on future economic conditions. Thank you very much. Now, consumer confidence was not planned for right now, right? So it's interesting timing that it's on the speech and not when that news was actually released, which I'm not sure when that was. Well, we'll see if it's a trap or it's a real reversal. There isn't very much selling into this up move just yet, but that's probably the smart thing to do anyway. Just let it move up. If it starts to get sold into again, redistribution, weakness, up moves, we will know. We'll take it from there. Can't assume it. Wait for it. Eurodollar sort of behaving like what we like to see on a 14 EMA rejection. It's not a scalp entry, it's not trending, but it is a 14 EMA test. Again, it's weakness in the background. Testing for buyers here, and you see the activity decreased on that. It's no demand type of situation. And then 14 EMA is the first spot where you might be seeing some selling pickup, as we know, right? And that's that three candle pattern that you often see there when it does end up rejecting. It's not off of weakness, it's just off of slightly tipping back towards the selling being more active. So it's likely going to continue down, and I'm glad I have this bit of a small aggressive position on if we don't get any up move and weakness. But of course, the true test is getting here into this whole area. And again, if there's high volume strength, then I can just consider getting out and looking for the more traditional entry. But main thing is smart money is short large amounts on the euro and pretty much sitting on it. Very little profit taking. I think besides this spike, there really isn't much, right? 5 minute. Australian dollar, are we seeing selling redistribution at the first area where we may see that, which is this box here? And we're not quite seeing that. Let's see the 1 minute chart. Nope. Okay, we're going to find out, but we know exactly what it is we're looking at. Is bearish, and is this a sort of a trap up move? Let all the buyers get in, let them get out of the way, and give the sellers good prices to sell into, or is it truly reversing, and reversing in the way that the Australian dollar tends to, like I said, sometimes, which would be shown by the higher volume points leading to higher prices, and the actual higher prices themselves not showing high volume, not showing weakness. We'll find out. Right now, I'm not thinking about shorting until we see that the higher prices are attracting the sellers and the redistribution. But like I said, I do prefer this than having to think about chasing it late as smart money's way into profit on their shorts on the Australian dollar, and I'd be getting in. Now we can get a little more lined up with them if we short higher. Yeah. Yeah. I like it. Um, all hands on deck. All right, this is a little out of control. Not that I'm complaining, but we don't want strength on this. So, like I said on the Eurodollar short, you know what? I think I'm going to move my stop to break even because of the high volume, um, and the price area that it's at, which is new low ground on the trend, right? Is that where we are? Yeah. We're in new low ground on the trend, and we see some high volume, right? So, stop loss being moved to break even on the Eurodollar. If it fails to do this and moves up off of this activity, then it's wait for the traditional entries. If it wants to close lower as a result of this volume, then I'm going to be happy that I went aggressive. And again, on the bigger picture, I didn't go with a big position. Like I said, it's a small position. But we're talking about another leg down and really, really a lot of weakness in the background. It would, be wise to hold some of this position until actual strength shows up. 618, which is a long ways away here. I don't know what's up with this broker with the stop loss. I don't know. MT4, kiss my ass. So stop loss at break even on the Eurodollar. Ooh, all right. There it is. AJ. Fake break setup. Possibly forming. Map it out, let it come to you, right? Nothing better than that. If it wants to pop up a little higher, if you hit the 50, that's fine, but we have the fake break. And the volume, there it is. There it is. Highest of the session. Look at the reaction. This is a big old trap. Dirty business. So, let's look for the entry. We got to do a test. Where are we testing? 14 EMA, of course. What other levels are sort of secondary? Because a 14 EMA, unless it's up here, is the spot to test. But we do have a previous sort of support resistance stuff going on here. Obviously an important level. And they'll use whatever's obvious to the left for testing. So there's that. So you could get a no demand here leading to a break, but if you haven't tested the 14, you're still going to have to deal with that. If we can get through this level, as we sit up here, maybe a couple more candles, the 14 EMA will start to pull up anyway. If we get below this level and the 14 EMA on the no demand, we're clear, right? It's 20 pips down to here, and of course the projection is to continue the trend to beyond that. I like it. Eurodollar. Let's go. So we get 60 pips on the Eurodollar. That is a hell of a lot of volume. We just want to make sure it's not strength. Really can't overmanage it and overthink it, because I didn't get into this trade to get a little move. AU, there it is, there it is. That's the zone. I tell you, if it comes down again now off of this weakness after it moved up off the speech, what a trap. What a load of crap. How many long positions just came into the Australian dollar pairs? I don't know. Check Forex Factory. They're about to get a surprise. Looking at, what, 20 pips, give or take profit on the Eurodollar short. Again, it was a small position. There is the option of closing some just to get something in the bank guaranteed, or the option to just leave it with no risk, stop at break even. I might just put a little in the bank and then let the thing run and see if I can get like 60 pips off the rest of the move total. But whatever you're comfortable with, since you understand the situation. And again, the volume you see here is very high on this, so it's potentially a reversal, but likely not, but who knows? just listening to the chart, I may close half the trade and then let the rest run to who knows what. Hoping it'll be another leg down of the trend. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah. I'm going to close half of the Eurodollar short, plus almost 20 now, starting to pop up a little bit. Okay. Okay. So some profit in the bank, close partial on the Eurodollar short. So it's a very small position I have on here now. No risk. Projecting still plenty of room. It could move another 50, 60 pips from here. So that small position will pay off okay. So that's where I am with the Eurodollar. No risk, something in the bank, and exactly where we want to be, right? So we're good. And this could be really the trend for, the next couple of weeks, maybe. Who knows? Something to hold on to. Small position in the right direction with no risk. Something to hold on to. A little bit in the bank. Oh, I like it. So potential setup on hey, you or AJ, or likely A anything if you like something else. What do you guys like over there? Looking at anything? You guys look at. Let's see. They're all doing the same thing. It's all about the Australian dollar driving it. No gold today? All right. Yeah, we've really broken the cycle of boom bust in the markets. It's pretty amazing. What happens when you artificially create a recovery to some extent artificial? Remember QE and all that, and then you actually get the recovery. Trump, like him or not, it's happening. So I guess it just keeps going. Make the markets great again. What is it? $5 trillion in value and gain since Trump came into office. Yeah, people don't talk about that. They talk about his tweets and this and that. They don't talk about what the good things going on. There's some funny tweets though. So word on the street is Michelle Obama is going to be running. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Michelle Obama is going to run against Trump. Yeah. Winky dink. All right, no politics. Sorry. EJ. Gosh, that just went, didn't it? We were talking about looking for a test for buyers off of the swing point here, regular stuff, right? Sell here off no demand, sell here off weakness, either one, whatever came. And this guy just dropped in. It's the euro, right? Very weak. So at least we're in it. That's why I wanted to get something in that euro. But again, going forward, likely to break this range. Another piece of information you heard here first. Flappy winky dink. So again, with the Eurodollar, I'm glad I obviously have stop at break even and a little something in the in the bank because we do have strength. Realistically, as bearish as the background is, it doesn't mean it can't pop up off of some buying here, and that's fine. It could be doing a break test continuation, right? This could come together for the support term resistance 14 EMA test and just give us our usual 14 EMA rejections on the way down, right? Which is good that the stop loss is beyond the 14 EMA. It would have to break that, break the old support, become a fake breakout off of strength, and then you'd be getting out with just a little bit of profit. So that's a good place to be. When the stop loss is at break even, but it happens to be in a place that kind of tells you it's not happening anyway, it's a good place to be. We wouldn't get stopped out for no reason. We would be exiting off of something actually logical. Fake break strength. So it looks like the behavior of the selling coming into the Australian dollar is very much waiting for higher prices, very patient, which is smart in this sort of up move. They're not trying to even mark it down and test 14 EMA right now. We do have a little higher to go and still have this area right up to the fake break. So if we get slightly higher prices now, we're likely to see weakness just above here. And also we, of course, could mark this and look at the 1 minute in there, but slightly higher should attract a bunch of selling again, just selling into the high prices, the up moves, pre-positioning short. Go watch it on the 1 minute, slightly above here. Should bring a volume spike and rejection. Double top fake break. Same old pattern. Now again, if they don't show up, we could go higher and get that set up. And we may see them sort of selling into the up move until it forms, right? These sellers don't want to be fighting these buyers. We want them to get in and get out of the way. Get committed and stop entering. So Eurodollar, decision time, right? Again, seeing this strength and the fake break pattern, potentially, of this low, tells you we want to get rid of the risk. I'm glad I put a little something in the bank and let it do whatever it's going to do. If it rejects here, support to resistance, 14 EMA, and start to continue down, we know the deal. That would be a good thing to see. But like I said, selling higher, it was the traditional trade. And if this break even ends up getting hit, I'd be looking for that. Hopefully, in many, many hours from now, when Yellen speaks, U.S. Fed, it doesn't change anything with the Eurodollar, with the U.S. dollar bias, the fact that the U.S. dollar is strong. So we can get some trends going on the Eurodollar, maybe have this thing run. All right, I'm glad we're seeing this. As I said, with the Australian dollar, AU slightly new ground, right? That's likely where the sellers were waiting for to start selling a bit more. See if we get a fake break weakness. And we can check the 1 minute since it's about price areas, not time frames. So this would be crucial to the setup that we would get some weakness and rejection at this price area now. And slightly higher price. So we're just about there. This is a slightly higher price. We don't see the weakness just yet. Maybe a little higher. Take break. Get the exact level. Okay, it's got a little room to the upside, and that's likely what they're waiting for. But it's new high ground to some extent. Should bring some weakness if they're aggressively selling into the up moves into the higher prices. Not that much yet. Let's see what happens. This is a good reaction here. Again, it's that 14 EMA type of, you move up to it, you get a small doji sort of open close similar price like that one. And then this guy, if it starts to pull away and close down, or maybe do that, then it's sort of confirming that pattern. But overall, is it time to start moving these back in the direction of the background? Hopefully. It seems to be coming together in an area where it could do that. There's EJ hitting some strength, so it's likely to break down and continue down, but maybe not just yet. Maybe, maybe not. I already did €1 aggressive entry. That's enough for today. But again, the projection with the EJ is that it is going to break the range to the downside unless we see some high volume demand. And I mean the range on the daily charts. I would guess, just for fun, whatever happens, happens. But just a fun guess. If the Australian dollar pops above this level, it's going to go bouncy, 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 get squashed, and have some very high volume weakness and start off the setup. That would be picture perfect. If it's taking its time and it happens after the session, just remember I said it. Because it's going to convince even more to go long. And that rush of long entries is going to bring in the smart money selling. And you'll just see that thing bouncing around and come in as weakness. Very likely the case. If not, then it tells you something, right? If the sellers don't show up here, it's time to wait. But that's likely where they're sitting. And if this goes a little higher, you have the 50 fib. But still, I would like, ideally, you want to see, it's only 6 pips between this resistance and 50 fib. So if you end up actually testing the 50 fib to get weakness on AJ, it would be best to see it back below the 85.10 to not only a fib rejection, but a fake breakout pattern, right? To come back into here, and of course, weakness. But I suspect there's a ton of sell orders coming in here, likely to come in here from smart money, and a ton of buying from dumb money. And that's going to give you this bouncy bounce and rejection and set up short. Likely. All right. So depending on your exact entry and spread, Eurodollar might hit your break even, and that's really perfectly fine because, again, highest volume of the session showing some strength, even though the background is very bearish. So the strength could, again, bring it up to, the traditional entry areas, looking for weakness in the up moves, fake break at this level, fibs, and all that. If this strength had not shown up, I really, wouldn't worry about it too much, and probably would have not moved my stop to break even. So of course now the trade is closed. Little something in the bank. It was definitely worth a try, but it looks like the dollar strength, which is driving these down in the bigger picture, needs to come in again, and it's likely at higher prices. Let's see the Australian dollar. So we didn't get weakness here. We did, of course, here. The second time around, we don't see it. Let's see the 1 minute. No, no, you see that? Really accepted the higher price area. Okay. So it looks like for the moment they're sort of backing off on the down moves, which would be wise with all this buying, right? To say, okay, we could get higher prices to sell into. Would you sell something now if you thought you were going to get a higher price later? No, you wouldn't. If it turns out to not be the case, again, you could have the no demand break of this level, right? This level. But it looks like they're backing off and seeing if the better prices could come in, and that's not at all a surprise. With a bit of demand coming in a bearish environment, let it come up. Now, AJ versus the yen is still similar because the Australian dollar is, very much more active and causing the correlation. But again, here it's a fake break pattern so far. Not a lot of weakness. They may show up a bit higher. All of this could continue. New York session. These guys could come down after floating up, hitting some weakness, and come down New York session, maybe on the news or the housing news, or even as late as Yellen speech, which is very late in the day, so I doubt it would take that long. But that's the mindset of the sellers. Okay, there's some buying coming in. We don't need to fight it. Let's see how high price can go before we start selling into it again. EJ, okay. Looks like we didn't miss anything on that one. And the same deal. If it may even come up here and give a very, very good short. Patience, patience. But the best thing about it is the market is behaving very well. It's clean. We know exactly what's going on. We're not stuck in a small range the whole first couple hours of London. This is the normal stuff. All right, so I was hoping we were going to see weakness again here to get the setup together, but it doesn't look like it's happening. Close this demo trade. So I didn't take partial profit in the demo. I'm kind of lazy with it. It doesn't really represent anything for real, but just to see the trades when I open them and stuff. So what I could leave you with, again, you probably know this. Higher prices, weakness. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to go multitask. I have a new song to mix today. Yay. It was just sent to me. And I'll have my laptop next to me letting this thing do its thing, and we'll see what we get. Weakness into higher prices. I think everybody knows where we are. You can ask if you're uncertain. All right, guys. Very nice conditions. In these kind of really good conditions, you wait for the proper setups. Besides my Eurodollar short, you don't have to be too aggressive. The good stuff should come. The weakness should come on AU, AJ into higher prices. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Usual time. Again, there won't be a session on Thursday because of the holiday. It's really, pretty extreme that you wouldn't want to be trading on Thursday, Friday. But I'll send out an email and make sure everybody knows that. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.